Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to show you how to do foiling and make a card. We're going to be using Poly-Glaze foiling sheets and the Fuse foiling system by Gina Designs. And in my video description, I will link the web links to her website and her YouTube channel. She has wonderful videos on how this system works. She has a lot of foiling videos, and that's a great place to go visit. So check that out. But today, in particular, I'm using the Poly-Glaze foiling sheets in celebration, and these are really a good value. They're under $7 and you get 10 sheets, and I will show you how to foil. So we're going to use those, and I'm also going to make a card using Master Layouts 1, and this is also a Gina K product. She has a series on Master Layouts right now on her YouTube channel, and I think you can watch it on Facebook too, but I usually watch her on YouTube. But do check it out. It's called Card Layout Series, and if you go to her YouTube channel, you'll see it. I believe there are 17 or 18 maybe master layouts. I don't have all of them. I only have a handful. But right now she just did Master Layouts 3 this past week. So do check that out. Another good resource. But I'm going to use these dies to make my card today. So let's get started. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the foils. For this system, this is a laminator, and it has different heat settings. Now, I have been using an old laminator that I'm borrowing from my sister-in-law. And Jerry, if you're watching, you're going to finally get that laminator back, because I have this now. That laminator worked great. I was laminating just some documents and things, and it worked great. But I tried it with the foiling, and it's just a little too hot. It overfoils, for lack of a better word, but where I did not want foiling, it actually put foil on it because it was just very hot and there was no setting on it. So my birthday I'm a February birthday, so this was my birthday present to myself, and I've been playing around with it, and I really, really like it. Love the results. But I do have some of the Gina K and ThermoWeb fancy foils. So I want to show you the Poly-Glaze sheets. They are pieces of cardstock with Poly-Glaze on it and a design. And when you put the foil on it and run it through the fuse machine, the heat will, wherever the design is, the foil will adhere to that. And so I have my practice panel, and I ran it through, and that's what you get. It's kind of like heat embossing, but a step up. The shine is very flat, and it's almost like a mirror. So it's just an extra level of shine, I think, from heat embossing, which I love heat embossing, and it's one of my favorite things to do with cards. But I do like this. I'm kind of new to this, so I'm going to show you what I've learned so far. So we're going to leave the sheet out. We're going to put this away. We don't need that. And then we will get a piece of the foil out. Now, let me get this out. I've been playing around with it, like I said, and you can see where I have foiled this. And what you are left with is the negative piece. And you can purchase plain Poly-Glaze sheets. You need the Poly-Glaze or toner for the foil to adhere to once it's heated. So if you ran this through on plain cardstock, it wouldn't stick to anything. So you could get plain Poly-Glaze sheets, and just in white would be really pretty, and then run it through, and then all the blue foil would adhere, and where it's white, the fireworks would be white. In fact, let me show you. It would be the complete opposite of this. The fireworks would be white in the background where it's white now. That would all be blue. And that would look really cool. And so I'm not going to use that today. But I do need a sheet of the foil that's going to be wide enough for this panel. And my scrap pieces are not. So I'm going to just cut, I'm going to show you how to cut a piece of this foil. You just want to take a sheet out, and they're very thin, and here I have 2 sheets, so just be careful. All right, so we want to cut this foil to the same size as our cardstock here. So what I do is I just flip it over and I put the cardstock on it, and you want to grab a pair of scissors or a rotary pair of scissors and just cut it. Okay, and you just want to cut it a little bit larger than the cardstock. And then here's the extra sheet. Save it. I save all my scraps because you could foil sentiment strips. Even if it's just a little piece, it'll work. So don't throw those away. And then we're going to turn on the fuse and let this get heated up. And it doesn't take long. So on the back of it, there is a on-off button. We're just going to flip that on. And then this center button will set the heat setting. And it's recommended for these types of foils to go to setting number 3. So just going to get that on 3, and that will beep and turn green when it's ready. So in the meantime, I want to grab my carrier sheet, which came with this fuse system. And it's just a carrier sheet that will help feed this panel and foil sheet through the machine. And so before we do that, I want to show you. Let's get that side by side. Because to prep this, you do want to dust off the Poly-Glaze and the foil. And you just want to take any kind of lint-free cloth and just dust it. Now, I dusted my house this morning, and I didn't think I was going to be dusting anymore today, but here I am. So just run that across the paper and also the back side of the foil sheet. So the pretty side down to dust, okay? Then you want the pattern facing up and the pretty side of the foil facing up. And you want to make sure that cardstock is completely covered. And then you just put it in your carrier sheet and just make sure everything is flat. Okay, and I always flip it over just to also make sure everything is covered. All right, and then this should be ready to go here in a second. Okay, so that did not take long. So let's go ahead and run this through. And you always want to make sure you feed the carrier sheet, the folded side goes in first, okay? And just guide it through till it catches, just like any laminator. And then it'll go through on its own. And just let it go. And then we'll take it out on the other side and see a beautiful design. Okay. All right. Ooh, I think we're done with that. So we just want to carefully take this out. Mine has quite a bit of static. And then I just like to let it cool off for just a second or two. Just wave it. And then you peel off the foil and reveal your design. And there you go. This is so cool. I love it. Isn't that awesome? It's just so super shiny. All right, so we're done with the fuse machine. So let's go ahead and turn it off, and I'm going to get this out of the way. And then the next thing we're going to do is do some die cutting. Now, I have mentioned Gina K has her Master Layouts, card layout series on YouTube. And on her website, she has a blog. And if you go to that blog, there are some free downloadable sheets that kind of go along with the videos that she's doing. So I went ahead and did that, and she teaches you how to do this binder. And if you watch the card layout series for Master Layouts 1, she goes over all of that in depth. But basically, I printed out the sheets that just kind of tell you what dies are in Master Layouts 1, which I have right here. And it's just, you know, they have laid it out and they've put the die sizes on it. And then she also has a printout, which is really helpful, of some ideas for card layouts. And then she also suggested, which I did, just cut out some samples, just so you can see in actual size what these look like. These are not actual size. These are a little bit smaller than actual size. So this is just a fake, like this would be the card base. But so what I did is I just die cut every piece and put it together as it was intended, but you can, you know, mix and match, and that's the beauty of master layouts. You can cut these by hand with a paper trimmer. That's totally fine. These just make it super easy. So I'm going to go ahead and do some die cutting for these pieces. I don't need this anymore. Oops. Let me just put this back where it belongs. I'll start throwing things around and then I won't be able to find them when I need them. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pull out these dies. And don't laugh, I have a piece of magnet, a sheet magnet that I cut down and just put it on a piece of cardboard because I didn't have anything else sturdy enough. But here are the dies that come in this set. And I'm actually going to be needing every one of them, I believe. Yeah. So I'm going to be cutting 2 panels. Let's start with this one. So these small rectangles, there is a shadow layer and then the panel layer. I'm going to cut all my shadow layers today in black cardstock. So I'm going to cut 2 panels out of this page, and then I'm going to use black cardstock for this matte layer, and then also I'm going to cut black cardstock for this matte layer and also this matte layer. This is going to be my greeting, and so all of these will be black cardstock, and then these will be, this will be 2 out of here, and then I'm going to do a white piece of white cardstock for this and a piece of white cardstock for this. So let me go get all of these cut out and then I'll be back. Okay, I have all my pieces cut out and I'm going to go ahead and put some of them together, and then we're going to do some stamping. So let's go ahead and glue these 2 pieces to their matte layer, and I'll go ahead and do one here. And just want to make sure there's some even margin all the way around. Just like that. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Here we go. And then we'll do this one. And put that down. And then we're going to go ahead and, well, I was going to go ahead and glue this down, but you know what? I'm going to do some ink splatting. So let's do that next. You know, if I can splat some ink on cardstock, I'm going to do that. So let's set this aside and bring up my splat box. I already know for my ink stamping, I'm going to be using these 2 colors from Gina K Designs. These are premium dye inks, and I'm going to use blue Denim and blue Lagoon. So I want to go with the darker color, and I'm going to, first of all, let me cap my glue so it doesn't dry out. I'm just going to go ahead and lay some ink down on my surface here. I'm going to put my cardstock right in my ink box. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. This is just a cardboard shipping box that I've cut down, and it's really perfect for this type of technique. So I'm just going to put some of this blue denim on my surface, a little bit of water, and I'm going to take a tiny small paintbrush. This is just a medium, or not a medium round, but a number 2 round, and I'm going to pick up some of this ink and I'm just going to splatter it along this cardstock all over, because I'm not sure where I'm going to glue these panels, and I want some of this splatter to show. Okay, and that's what we end up with. So we'll just let that dry for a minute, and let me clean this off. These are water-based inks, so they just clean right up. Very easy. I'll go ahead and clean my brush. Just get most of it off, and then I'll clean it when I'm done filming. Okay. So the other thing is these inks dry fairly quickly. So now we're going to go ahead and glue these panels down. And I think I got some ink on there. So if that ever happens, you can take one of these monofilament erasers. It's basically a sand eraser for ink. And I don't know if you can see, whoops, where am I? Yep, that little smudge right there. I'm going to see if I can just lift some of that up. And just like that, it's gone. These are nice little tools to have. Looks good as new. All right, let's glue these down. And let's see, how do I want this? I think I'm gonna offset them a little bit like that. It doesn't have to be lined up perfectly. You could put them wherever you want on your panel. So I'll just kind of lay this one down and then get the other one lined up. All right. And kind of like that. Don't care really. I think this one, I wonder if I have time to... Nope, that glue, this is Gina K Connect Glue, and let me tell you, in that short time, that glue is down. So, am I a little bit off? Yes, but that's okay. I'm gonna go with it. Gonna make it work. All right, so let's set this aside and let's do some stamping. I'm going to bring in my mini Misty, and I need a piece of cardstock. And this is a really cool technique that I'm going to show you. Let's go ahead. Let's see. I'm going to use this stamp set right here, also from Gina K Designs. It's called Big Congrats, and isn't that cool? I love it. I really like this stamp set. This was part of a bundle, and it came with some dies. There's a lot of dies in here. These are, you know, steel, made in USA, and they will cut. There's a die for each one of these sentiments. So I'm not going to do die cutting. I'm going to do a stamping technique that I want you to stick with me because this is so cool. But I'm going to use this greeting right here just as congrats. So let me go ahead and pull that out. And let's get our cardstock in here. And then we're just going to position this. And I haven't die cut the, this is going to be the back, the shadow layer for this greeting. And I have not cut it out yet. I wanted to stamp it first and then I'll die it, cut it out. So let's go ahead and get that done. Just want to make sure that that's somewhat straight. And then, like I said, we're going to use these two inks. And first, we're going to start with the light colored ink. So this is Blue Lagoon. Let's go ahead and ink up the stamp. If you're enjoying these videos, I really would love a comment. Leave me a comment. I read everything. I answer everybody. I really do. It does bring me joy to have somebody comment on my videos. It's like, oh, somebody is watching. If you're a card maker or just beginning, I still consider myself a beginner. I've just been doing this just about 2 years. But, you know, there's always new techniques and some fun things to learn. There's so much out there that it will take me years to learn all of the techniques, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Okay, so there you can see beautiful Blue Lagoon. It's a very pretty ink color. And I'm just going to clean my ink off. I'm going to leave the stamp right where it is. We don't want to move the cardstock. We don't want to move the ink. And now the next thing I'm going to do is, while this is drying, this is just a half sheet of copy paper. I'm going to crumple it up and open it, and I'm going to crumble it again. Okay, and then I'm going to open it, and then I'm just going to kind of wad it up into a ball and just leave it like that for just a second. All right, Now let's go ahead and use our darker color, blue denim. And I'm only going to have one pass at this, so I want to get a lot of ink on it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put the ink on, and then we're going to use our wadded up paper, and we're going to pull some of that ink off. So I'm going to tap the stamp. Let me zoom out here. I'm going to tap the stamp and pull up, tap it again and pull up. Okay, so we're just going to go straight down and straight down. Now I'm going to zoom in and then drop it. And I hope you can see that, but it gives like a little bit of a, oh, it almost looks camouflaged. I actually don't want to lift this up. I almost made a mistake because we still need that stamp in its place, but I hope the camera's catching this. I think it is. You can see the variation of the light and the dark there, especially right down here. Okay, so I'm going to again clean my stamp off. We're not quite done yet. We're done with these inks. So the next step is I want to do some heat embossing with some embossing powder. So let me grab what I'm going to use. Is I'm going to be using Simon Says Stamp Clear Embossing and Watermark ink, and a little bit of Recollections Clear Transparent. Using transparent embossing powder is a great way to emboss your inks and without having to buy colored embossing powder. You don't need every color of embossing powder. If you have transparent, you can just emboss right over your ink. All right, so let's go ahead and get this open and ready. And then all we're going to do is ink up the stamp. Ink it up real well. Drop it. And then now we are done stamping. And I'm just going to take this sheet of copy paper and pour the powder right over it. And then I just like to tap it around and let it just get all over the design or the stamp. All right, and set that aside. This powder is reusable, so just funnel it back into your container. And I like to close everything up before I bring the heat tool into the picture here. So we just need to melt the powder with a heating tool. I'm going to go ahead and turn my heating tool on. I'm going to let it warm up for about 10-15 seconds, and then we'll melt the powder. All right, and you can see that gorgeous color is shiny and shimmery, and it gives a little bit of a texture because the powder, as it melts, it's a little bit texturized. It's not, you know, flat like the foiling, but I like that. I like the way it gives that contrast. So I need to let this cool just a little bit, and then we'll die cut it, and then we'll put this card together. Okay, got my die cut piece, and I'm gonna just put this card together, and it should go quickly now. And let's see, just want to make sure I can see the little scalloped edge all the way around. And let me put the owl on there, and then we'll go ahead and glue this panel down to its matte layer. Again, just making sure there's an even margin all the way around. A little bit better than I did on these two panels, but that's okay. Okay, And then let's go ahead and glue this onto the card base. So I already have a card base pre-cut, and just make sure it's going the right way. Let's glue this down. These are fun cards for graduations or any kind of achievement, good grades, project done, promotion, anything like that. Then the last thing we'll do is glue this on. And I'm just going to put that right in the middle. Make sure it's straight. I think that looks good. And there you have it, my finished card project for today. All right. I want to thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this tutorial, I hope you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you can join me every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern for another episode of Let's Make a Card. Also, if you like, subscribe, and leave a comment, you'll automatically be eligible for a future subscriber shout out. Lastly, you can find a link to another video at the end of this video that I think you might enjoy. Until we meet again, have a great week.